Hi loves, this is your next video. This is part 1 of 2 videos again. This is called May the Force Be With You. Oh, and motion too. So here's a picture for you. You see a picture that looks like this, and I ask you the question, is this car in motion? The majority of you would say yes. Well, then I come back and I say to you, how do you know that the object is in motion? And you would say maybe there's blurred lines, the cars are a little fuzzy, we're inside the car, it's on a highway, and those are all great responses. You also may say, because it's moving. I want us to steer away from that and look at the actual definition of motion. So what exactly is motion? Well, motion is when we have an object and its position or distance relative to a reference point changes. So here's my picture for you. You have a stop sign. The stop sign is in one place. It's considered a reference point. We can refer to it. Then you see the car driving down the road. If the distance between the car and the stop sign is changing, it's getting smaller, it's getting larger, then that means the object's in motion. And that happens to be the car. The car would be the object in motion. I have a quote for you. The quote says, this is Blaise Pascal, and he says, our nature consists of motion. Complete rest is death. So everything around us has some sort of motion, and we're going to look at that as we go through. So let's take a look at some examples. Here are 4 examples for you. Try to figure out which place or which object is the reference point and which object is in motion. A plane flying in the sky headed to DFW Airport. So which would be the reference point and which would be the object? Well, the airport would be the reference point and the plane would be the object. The distance is changing, therefore the plane is the object in motion. When you walk from class to class, the class period that you just left, the classroom that you just left, would be considered the reference point, and you are the object that would be in motion. You see the other 2 examples, a dog chasing a squirrel or the bus taking students home. So, is there anything that might affect motion? If motion is constant and things are constantly moving or have motion, is there anything that can impact them? Well, absolutely. There's something called forces, and a force is a push or a pull. Now, there are 2 different types of forces. One is called balanced forces, where the forces on either side of a particular object are balanced. One's not greater than the other one. The second type is called unbalanced forces, where we may have more force on one side or less force on one side, and so they are unbalanced. We'll talk more about that in part 2, how those forces are going to impact an object's motion. There are some natural forces that are at work that I want us to look at. We have gravity and we have friction. Gravity is an invisible force. It's an invisible pull on objects. We will speak more about gravity when we get to the universe, but for right now, you need to understand that gravity is an invisible pull on objects. So you see the apple being pulled out of the tree as it falls down. Another kind of natural force is called friction. Friction is the force that an object exerts on another surface back and forth. So you will see my example of the ice skates on the ice rink. The ice skates are going to increase the friction to allow you to be able to stand. And anybody that's ever been ice skating knows you always have to wear your skates, because if you wear tennis shoes, it's very, very slippery. You've lost your friction. Just like when you're walking down the hallway in brand new shoes, the tread on the bottom will grip the floor. You have lots of friction. But as you wear those shoes more and more, you lose some of that friction. So you're able to slip and slide around and possibly fall. Gravity and friction are 2 forces that are naturally at work on objects when they are in motion.